In regards to what you're saying about stop and search and bringing it back, let's be clear, stop and search has never gone anywhere. It's always been there. So the police have the power to use it should they have reasonable grounds to do so.
Well, no, it's changed, hasn't it? They think a crime will be committed, used to be, now, might be committed, my apologies. Theresa May ensured that a crime will be committed. She made a catastrophic, calamitous, almost criminal decision there, didn't she?
Well, I'd have to disagree.
Oh, really? Tell me why.
So let's be clear, stop and search and then understaffed. We've always had disproportionate use of stop and search against the black community. So her noticing the disproportionality and attempting to reform it, actually she needs to be applauded for that. Let's be clear with that. How that followed through...
Do you think the families of these people who've died will be applauding her, Katrina French?
Let's be clear that when stop and search is being carried out, we had over the last year 128,362 stop and search. Of those, 76,000 were for drugs. That's 59%. So when we're talking about stop and search being used for knives and weapons, actually only about 16% of the stop and searches are for that.
Good start to me. Sounds like a good start to me. 16%. I'll take that.
Well, it's a start, but let's be clear. Most police resources being used for the smell of cannabis alone, which isn't taking drugs off the street, which is actually causing communities to be marginalised even.
I'm sure you're aware that a lot of these, it is believed a lot of these murders are down to drug trafficking. I'm sure you're aware of that.
When he was caught smoking in Leicester Square, it's completely different to how young men are treated when they're caught smoking in Brixton, Islington and other places. What we need is parity in the law and it to be used fairly amongst everybody, not particular communities.
Why do you suppose there isn't parity in fatalities?
Parity in fatalities. Hold on, there's lots of things.
Would you answer my question? Why do you suppose there isn't parity in fatalities?
To do with lots of things. Young white men are not running around on the streets with knives on the numbers of young black men.
Why are young black men running around with knives on the streets? To use your expression.
Lots of them have been excluded from school. So we need to look at the educational system. Lots of them are still disproportionately excluded from school. We've had the race audit that has shown that being black in this country is incredibly difficult. So let's not look at it in one thing. There's a whole... To those who would suggest you're making excuses, how would you respond? I'm not making excuses. I'm making it very clear that we have a young generation who are living in trauma. They have seen violence. They will then mimic that violence. They don't feel they have opportunity. And then they're being criminalised by the same system. When the police are stopping you day in, day out for a cannabis stop that actually you smell of cannabis, didn't mean they saw you with cannabis. That causes mistrust. That causes the police not to have the intelligence they need to carry out appropriate stop and searches or to find the knives or the guns off of the streets. You know, it's a two-way street in terms of building.
What are the so-called community leaders doing to try and reach out to persuade young men? Who are you talking about when you say? I don't know. I read about community leaders being held to go to a meeting. Everything you read, the community's been decimated. The price of houses has meant that people who used to live in their area don't live in there anymore. The regentification of Brixton, we've seen youth services cut. So we've had a whole infrastructure stripped out, and then you speak about. So you're telling me that these two people, these two poor teenagers who've died this weekend, they've been killed because of the rising price of property in Brixton. That's what you're telling me, is it? It's not the rising price of property. There's gentrification, there's lack of opportunity, and then there's people, let's be clear, who need support. Who are, let's say, bad or naughty, who don't see a way out of it. Gentrification, pardon me, gentrification has been going on for decades. Yes, and now we're starting to see some of the... Oh, please. The chickens coming it's taken 50 years, has it? Hold on, let's be clear. These poor souls who've been murdered weren't even born, and their parents weren't even born when gentrification started. This is nonsense. Over-police of young black people in this country. What's happening All right, now? I tell you what, let's do it your way. Katrina French, we'll do it your way. You continue to monitor stop and search. You continue to help new to the police, and you continue to, like me, mourn when you hear that another person from a non-white community has been stabbed or shot. And we'll do it your way, shall we? What do you mean, do it my way? Or you do it the American way, which is where you crack down on crime. Which has the largest prison population, and we've seen... Have you not seen the documentary 13? I tell you what I have seen. The drop in number of black people being shot and fatally shot and stabbed in New York. I tell you what I've seen there, and I celebrate that, as I'm sure you would in London. And guess why? Because they nick people and they put them in jail, and that works. So let's talk about nicking people. Let's not talk about using intrusive power on the roadside. No, we'll do it your way. We'll do it your way. We'll never stop and search. And I tell you what, more black kids will be shot or stabbed, and we'll do it your way. And guess what? The communities won't be offended.
Mr. Theresa May, she may have been criticised for a lot of things. She's got the big problem of Brexit on her plate. But one of the things that she's done right, and she's going to get a lot of respect for, is the way she challenged the police on random stop and search.
Tell that to the relatives of the two men who were stabbed the night before last, one of whom for his iPhone. Never mind, Nick. Never mind, Nick. This is the reality that has to be confronted, right?
No, it's your reality. Your reality and the picture you want to paint. You didn't listen to the guy who phoned you and told you he's been hearing the same nonsense for 50 years. The point is this, that there is crime in society right across from Manchester to London. There is crime. And the police's job, let me finish, the job of the police is to investigate and prosecute crime. The more ineffective the police are, the more people take the law into their own hands.
I don't see what this has got to do with stop and search. You're way off subject, man.
It's got a lot to do with it. No, I'm not, because the reality of the matter is...
Well, I'll tell you what, let's do it your way. Let's do it your way, where no one actually says that, tragically and sadly, some black kids in this town like to carry knives, and sometimes they use them, often, not always, on other black kids. And let's look at more black faces staring out of the Evening Standard and other papers of people who get tragically killed. And we'll keep going your liberal way, and more kids will die, but we'll never confront the reality. Happy?
Liberal? My wife's not liberal, Nick. No, Nick, you're talking rubbish.
Right, explain to me then why over the last 12 months, since we've not done as much stop and search, we've got 84% rise in youth killings. What do you put that down to? A change in the moon? No, precisely.
Underfunding of...
Never mind underfunding. Never mind. The cops we have got out there can't even do their bloody job because they're too frightened if they stop someone with a non-white face.
No, you're talking rubbish.
All you're saying is you're talking rubbish, and you waffle on about Manchester and God knows what else. You have no facts to back up what you're saying.